We're going to make the world better, but there isn't going to be a point where we said, oh, we got it. It's a long journey. Look, there's so many injustices in the world. I come from a country, Iraq, that has been destroyed for so many injustices over injustice. I worked with women in wars who have been destroyed by injustices. I'm now working with women in climate change, and their lives are destroyed from injustice. And every time I see injustice, right, the dynamics for me becomes a choice. Do I lead against this injustice out of anger, or do I lead out of love? Recently, I co-founded Daughters for Earth to put more money in the hands of women who are on the front lines of solving climate solutions, particularly in protecting and preserving 50% of Earth. But in the process, I learned that whatever we are working on, the cause is not requiring us to self-sacrifice. That the giving to others or to Earth or to social justice is not asking of us to be victims ourselves and to give all of ourselves and leave nothing for our own wellness, basically. But it took me a really hard journey to understand that there is a flow, that my happiness and other people's happiness and my well-being and Earth's well-being are interconnected and not separated from each other. We're going to make the world better, but there isn't going to be a point where we said, oh, we got it. Let's go and have some drinks on the beach. It's a long journey. 20 years of working in war zones at Women for Women International, I reached a point where the taste of life got lost from me. So yes, I contributed to helping 500,000 women, raising $146 million to women in wars, mobilizing another 500,000 women in 68 countries. All were wonderful numbers and accomplishments, but I personally reached a point where there was nothing of me to even give. But then that space that I had to learn how to create that space for myself, and I have to be conscious every day on it, because we are, people like us are wired to be in service, right? We're wired to give for the cause. We want the justice, we want equity in the world, we want fairness. So it's really easy for it to be addictive, right? And I have to every day stop myself, say, I'm tired, time's off. I need to go and take care of myself, and I'm not going to stop being a social activist or a feminist or a women's rights activist. I'm going to continue. It's not a marathon anymore. It's a journey, and a journey that I want to enjoy every minute of it. Everyone is part of it. Our colleagues are part of it. Our boards are part of it. Our funders, which are essentially powerful in our lives, are hugely part of it. So we can't put the pressure only on social entrepreneurs, because it's an impulse. You believe that's like a mother's impulse. She has to take care of her baby. I have an impulse to take care of, to be speaking up for women and for marginalized voices, and now for Earth. This is my being. All of us need community to hold that space and to hold the safety for each other and say it's okay, and not to judge each other when we are exhausted or fatigued, and frankly, to create spaces within ourselves. Honestly, the biggest lesson that came to me was interacting with nature and being much more present in nature. That has been my biggest teacher. I learned to trust whatever is going to happen, right? I learned to believe in life, to trust in life out of nature. I learned that nature has different rhythms, which is sometimes fast, sometimes slow, and I learned to allow myself. We are still operating out of our mind to accomplish, but for me, I came to learn that the heart has a language, and unless we slow down and we take a step back and have an appointment with our hearts, we cannot understand its language and what it's trying to tell us and the wisdom it is. So all of that for me came in context of, frankly speaking, being in the presence of nature more than anything else. And I've also seen the profound love that humans have and the profound creativity that humans have. I had to learn to go above it and go into love, because that was better for me and better for what I'm trying to accomplish in the world personally. And so Ultimately, I learned to trust life and to trust humans, really, because there is goodness in this world. Yes, there is a lot of bad, but there's also a lot of good in this world. And because I ultimately believe that unless we make the 21st century the feminine century with feminine values, our own humanity is at stake. And I am no longer willing to engage with the values that drove us to here in good ways, but in bad ways as well. That our time for me right now is for us to find what are these feminine values and nourish it in us and lead with it. And that is a discipline. It's not easy because it's a lonely process. The leaders who have changed the world, the leaders who have brought significant change in the narrative of the world are not the leaders who fought with anger, are ultimately the leaders who fought with love. So for me, I learned the hard way, really, to choose to love fearlessly, despite of all the injustices that I personally encountered or my people encountered or that I witnessed. Despite of that, you choose love because that's the one, in my opinion, that shall always triumph at the end.